Welcome to our video on building a Bitcoin ATM simulator using Java. In this tutorial, we'll take you from start to finish, creating an application that simulates the functionality of a Bitcoin ATM. Before we dive into the code, let's outline what our simulator will do. The ATM will support operations such as checking balance, buying Bitcoin, and selling Bitcoin. We'll also implement a basic menu system for user interactions. To begin building our simulator, we need to set up our Java development environment. Make sure you have JDK installed. If you're using an IDE like IntelliJ IDEA or Eclipse, create a new Java project. Now, let's create our main class. This class will be responsible for running our ATM simulator. We'll name it Bitcoin ATM Simulator. In this class, we'll set up a basic structure for our application. Next, let's create a class to represent a user. This class will contain information like the user's balance, security information, and methods to perform operations like buying and selling Bitcoin. In the buy Bitcoin and sell Bitcoin methods, we will need to implement the logic for updating the user's balance based on the Bitcoin transaction. For simplicity, we'll assume a static price for Bitcoin for now. Next, let's create a bank class. This class will manage multiple users and their respective transactions. We'll allow users to log into their accounts in the simulator. The bank class has methods to add users and retrieve a user by their name. In our Bitcoin ATM simulator class, we'll instantiate a bank. Let's add a couple of sample users to work with. Now, let's implement the ATM menu. We'll create a method to display the menu and another method to handle user input. In the menu, users will be able to choose options such as checking their balance, buying Bitcoin, or selling Bitcoin. Let's implement the handle user choice method to respond to user inputs. We'll need to get user input and route it to the correct function based on the user's choice. The handle user choice method checks which option the user selected and executes the corresponding action. Make sure to prompt for a user before displaying the menu. Let's modify the main method to include user login. Now that our menu is functional, let's enhance it with a loop to allow multiple actions until the user decides to exit. This way, after each operation, the user can choose another action without having to re-login. Great! Now our ATM simulator allows repeated actions until the user decides to exit. Let's add a bit of error handling in case the user inputs something that isn't an integer. Our simulator is coming together nicely. Now, we might want to consider adding a logging feature for every transaction. This will help in keeping track of various operations made using the ATM. Now we can incorporate logging in our buy Bitcoin and sell Bitcoin methods. Every time a transaction is made, we'll log that transaction to the transactions.log file. With transaction logging in place, we'll be able to review our interactions with the ATM later on. Let's do a final overview of the main functionalities. Check balance, buy Bitcoin, and sell Bitcoin. At this point, you have a fully functional Bitcoin ATM simulator in Java. We designed classes for users, banks, and implemented a menu-driven approach to interact with the user. As a final step, let's discuss how to run our application. If you're using an IDE, simply run the Bitcoin ATM simulator class, and you should see the greeting message and be prompted for a username. Thank you for following along in this tutorial. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more programming tutorials. See you in the next one.